By Vamped Motors, the only authorized Ford and Toyota dealership serving the Cayman Islands. Coca-Cola, available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga distributors. Accept no substitutes. Taste the feeling with Coca-Cola. Brand Source Home Gallery, inspiring luxury. Caribbean Bakery, made Cayman fresh. Health City, now open at Camana Bay 7 days a week.
The Ministry of Commerce, Planning and Infrastructure, and by West Bay Pharmacy, taking care of your health.
This is For the Record with Ort Connor.
Coming to you live from Radio Cayman Studio.
For the record.
For the record. For the record.
Hear from your government officials, independents, and the opposition on issues that matter to you.
For the record.
Engage in an open dialogue between residents and lawmakers.
For the record.
For the record. For the record.
Informative, impartial, insightful.
This is your talk show.
1-800-534-8255. Your calls, your input. This is For the Record. And now, your host, Ort Connor.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, O land of soft, fresh breezes and verdant trees so fair. Today is Wednesday, the 9th day of June 2021. I hope and I trust that everyone had a restful, peaceful, enjoyable evening. Those of you who are on the roads of the Cayman Islands, whether you're a pedestrian, a cyclist, or operating any type of motorized vehicle, we again urge you to please be extremely cautious. Ensure that you observe the rules of the road. Remember that the life you save may simply be your own. For those of you who are celebrating a birthday today, we want to wish you a happy birthday, or if you celebrated one over the past few days, a belated happy birthday as well. For those of you who have lost loved ones, again, we want to extend our sincere condolences to you. We hope and we trust that your faith will help to carry you through these very challenging times, and that the memories of your loved ones will be a blessing as well. For those of you who are feeling under the weather and either at home or maybe at a medical facility, we want to wish you a speedy recovery as well. So folks, I want to thank you for allowing Radio Cayman, and by extension For the Record, into your homes, into your vehicles as you traverse the busy roads of the Cayman Islands, into your places of work, wherever that may be. As you know, For the Record is a show produced by the staff and the management of Radio Cayman, and it is geared towards keeping you abreast of issues as they arise and play out on the local, regional, and international scene. I am your host, Ort Connor, and you're welcome to join me every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 7:30 a.m. until 10 a.m. During that period, our phone lines are open. Beautiful radio voice of Miss Susan Watson waiting to take your calls. You can call us on our toll-free number provided courtesy of Flow. That toll-free number, 1-800-534-8255. You can also call us on 949-8037 and 949-6990. Email us at fortherecord, one word, fortherecord at candw.ky. WhatsApp us, 925-3261, where you can send us a text message or leave us a voice note, and the contents of which will be played during the course of the show. Of course, you could follow us on YouTube too, simply by subscribing to Radio Cayman live stream. It is my pleasure to have in the studio with me again this morning Dr. Steve McPhail. And one of the topics that Dr. McPhail wants to discuss this morning is the mental health law. We know that lots of discussions have been taking place, and this morning we really want to focus on the law and the rights that individuals enjoy as prescribed in our Bill of Rights in our Constitution. We want to focus less on individuals and more on the concept and the problem, and to give you a better picture of how the issue plays out from a legal standpoint, and hopefully, those of us who may have personal biases in relation to it will get a fuller understanding of the issue and how it is dealt with from a legal standpoint. So, without any further ado, Doc, good morning. Welcome back to For the Record.
Good morning, Mr. For the Record, and good morning to all your fans and for the Record land and all of those in the Cayman diaspora and all of the people who listen to you on the Wednesdays, on the Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. It's good to be back with you. I'm sorry that I couldn't be with you the last time that you invited me onto your show. Yep. I had a court date that morning, early that morning, and I didn't know that I had to go to court until I got home that evening. I saw that the message on the notification on my phone.
Okay.
And so I apologize for that.
Well, no, that's okay. Judah comes first, you know.
but thank you for inviting me here. Yes, I think that it would be a good thing if we in your usual manner, in the manner in which you dispense information to go through the relevant mental health law and see what it says and see what rights people have and maybe inform the public because I know. And the reason why I wanted to discuss it with you this morning was because of all of the things that have been said about a particular person. We're not discussing it surrounding a reasonably surrounding a particular person. We're discussing it as what the law says and what treatment people can get. And how they can get the treatment and the procedures and that the law sets out for the mental health practitioners to help a person who's mentally ill.
Exactly, yeah. And I think that legislation was the new. Well, I see that there's a Mental Health Act 2021 revision,
yes,
as well, but other legislation was promulgated in I think it was May of 2013.
Yes, May 2013 was when the law was. There was an old mental health law. You remember the old mental health law that was from the 1980s. Mm-hmm. You remember that,
right? Yes.
The 1980s. It was passed by the then Legislative Assembly.
Okay,
and you remember. The controversy in passing that legislation. You remember a lot of people thought that the legislation was aimed at Jim Lawrence. There was dispute between the Bordentown twins, they called them at the time, Haig and Jim.
Okay.
And Jim Lawrence and his wife Mary. Now they we call us
Madam Speaker.
Madam Speaker. And they were trying to bring the government down, and the government was trying to. The government at the day was trying to shut down James Lawrence and his controversy that he was trying to continue. In other words, he was trying to bring the government to heel
and holding them to
account. And they decided that the government decided then that we have to get rid of him. We have to get rid of this thorn, as Mr. Jim put it, this thorn in our side.
Okay.
And so they crafted something called the mental health law, which gave the police the power to arrest you and to take you before a mental health practitioner and to certify that you were mentally ill. And I remember the controversy that day, and I can tell you. Mr. Haig's wife Fifi, that day when the Legislative Assembly recess for lunch, there was a whole lot of people in the gallery and a whole lot of people in the Legislative Assembly because they were against this law because they said it could be misused to arrest anybody who the government thought was against them. And I remember right in the crowd when he came out of the chamber, out into the lobby, Fifi says to him, "Hey, let me tell you one thing. If you don't support Mr. Jim this morning on this law, you won't be sleeping on my pillow tonight." yeah. So it was very controversial. I think they had to take the law to Cayman Brac to get it passed. I think they had to take it to the Legislative Assembly already to get it passed. But anyway, they call it was the Jim Lawrence law. And nothing was done about it for years and years and years. And then there was a reaction. Was it? It was reenacted in 2013, modernized in 2013, and then in December, it revised as of the 31st of December 2020. There was another revision to the law, and the law came into effect in 2021
So
as the Mental Health Act.
Yes.
Now, instead of the Mental
Referred to,
Health Law, the Mental Health Act.
Yes. Okay.
Now,
Still have some time before commercial, so go.
yeah. So what the law does, it provides for an assessment order, and it provides for treatment orders, and it provides for statutory persons to carry out the orders of the act. It also provides for an independent mental tribunal called a commission, and so forth. It recognizes the ability for a person with decision-making capacity to make his or her own decision for mental illness as well. It provides for protective custody, as a cohesive mechanism designed to get a person who is at risk it's called what it says to self or to others because of mental illness to a place of safety, so that the person's mental health can be evaluated by a professional. It also enables a police officer to take a person into protective custody if the officer believes that the person has a mental illness and has concerns about the person's safety or the safety of others. An assessment order is a short-term order enabling a person to be assessed without the person's informed consent to determine the state of the person's mental health and to identify the treatment options. Assessment orders are made by medical practitioners, and they only assist for a short time, and the person has or appears to have a mental illness that requires or is likely to require treatment for the person's health or the safety of others. And the person cannot be properly assessed with regard to the mental illness or the making of a treatment order except under the authority of the assessor order. And the person does not have decision-making capacity. So the maximum time for that is set out in the law for an assessment order. Assessment order may require the person who is being assessed to be detained in an appropriate facility for a short period of time so that the assessment can occur. And the treatment, there's also a treatment order. It's called treatment orders. Is an order enabling a person to be given special treatment without the person's informed consent. And the treatment order in most cases is for a particular period of time and may require the person who is being treated to be detained in an approved facility. And the treatment orders are made by, like I say, by the professionals. And then there's the health tribunal, which makes which you have to satisfy them that the person is mental ill without treatment order. So it sets out the whole procedure in which people who are mentally ill or mentally challenged can be treated, and it's very comprehensive and it's very modernized, and I think it's one of the best mental health act that I have seen in modern times. Okay,
so we're going to go into more detail into those orders as well, and we're going to talk about the Mental Health Commission.
Yes.
Also because that's in the legislation. So, folks, we're going to take a commercial break. When we return, the conversation with Dr. Steve Macfield will continue. So please stay tuned.
The Cayman Islands boasts of a long, colorful, and rich history. In tribute to our roots, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the Historical Vignette Series, brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects. The Cayman Islands, He hath founded it upon the seas.
Bertram Ebanks, Certificate and Badge of Honor, JP, 1913-1976. Bertram Ebanks served in the Constabulary Force of Grand Cayman. During World War II, he served in the Home Guard of the Trinidad Royal Naval Volunteer Reserve for 4.5 years and received silver and bronze medals for meritorious service. He was elected a vestryman in 1946 and appointed a Justice of the Peace in 1948. He was a member of the Agricultural Society from its very inception and president from 1974 to 1976. He was inducted into the Agriculture Hall of Fame, and there is a pavilion named after him on Thomas Russell Way. Berth Ebanks was an active member of the Northside Pilgrim, now Wesleyan, Holiness Church. The people with whom he shared his property for a small fee nominated a land in the area to be called Uncle Bert's Lane. He was married to Esme Alverny Nee Ebanks, with whom he had 4 children.
Radio Cayman's Historical Vignettes was brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects.
Rotary Central and you, our valued community, have undertaken remarkable accomplishments since October 1986. Over 34 years of activity and projects, making lives better and moving our beloved Cayman forward. Rotary Central has yet again committed to the advancement of these islands, this time in the area of mental health. We are proud to announce our partnership with Loud Silent Voices and donation of $50,000 to provide a community home for those recovering from various mental illnesses. Rotary Central and Loud Silent Voices, a signature project, taking care of the vulnerable, helping families manage, more than a shoulder, more than a helping hand, literally calming the storm. Rotary Central, care in every effort, sweat in every project, every dollar planted back in the community with your help. Rotary opens opportunities.
Hi, I'm remodeling our bathroom. I have a few questions.
Sure.
What are some ideas to make my bathroom feel larger? How do I know if I'm picking the right vanity? How do I choose a new toilet or a new countertop? Also, the lighting is terrible. Can I put a window or a skylight? And do I really need an exhaust fan?
You've come to the right place. At Brand Source, we custom design kitchen and baths, and our talented design team can help answer your questions. Whether you're looking for a modern, functional family bathroom or a luxurious personal retreat, we'll help create that beautiful space that makes your home yours. And if you're in a rush for a new look and have a limited budget, our ready-to-install bathroom vanities, built with solid wood and countertops of the finest materials, are a quick and easy remodeling solution.
For the very best in custom-designed kitchens and baths, visit Brand Source Home Gallery on Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park, Cayman's Kitchen and Bath Center.
Are you feeling sick, but don't feel ill enough to go to the doctor? Ask your pharmacist for advice. Here at West Bay Pharmacy, our pharmacists have been trained to offer helpful, easy-to-understand advice on the treatment of everyday minor ailments for yourself and all the family. Anything from headaches, cough and sore throat, to cold sores, our pharmacists will know when medical help is needed and will not hesitate to refer you to your doctor if your symptoms demand it. Like doctors, our pharmacists have a professional code, which means all personal information you give them will be treated in the strictest confidence. Visit us today at West Bay Pharmacy, where we care about your health.
Did you know that defective airbags can cause serious injury or even death if not repaired immediately? Right now, millions of vehicles around the world are under recall for faulty Takata airbags, and yours could be one of them. At Vant Motors, our priority is to make sure the Toyota or Ford you drive is safe. So we are offering customers a free, fast and easy airbag swap out if your vehicle was manufactured in 2016 or earlier. Find out if you need to have new airbags installed by emailing your Ford or Toyota vehicle's VIN or vehicle identification number to service@vantmotors.com or stop by Vamp's Service Center or call us at 949-2245. Don't risk it. Get the airbags in your Toyota or Ford checked for free at Vant Motors on Walkers Road.
When I was growing up in Cayman, Sundays was always a big day for our family. Everyone would go to Granny's house for Sunday dinner after church. Even today, I can still smell the aroma of all the delicious food we used to eat, especially the hot, fresh baked bread smothered in butter, topped off with our favorite pan cheese. These days, I don't have enough time to cook and bake, but I do my best to carry on the Sunday tradition of family meals, and being able to get hot, fresh bread with no preservatives or additives from Caribbean Bakery is a big help for me. Shh, don't tell them, they still think I baked it. Caribbean Bakery, now delivering every Sunday to McGrath's grocery store in Eastern Avenue and Marina Drive. Caribbean Bakery, made Cayman fresh.
System 1 loaded.
1-800-534-8255. What is on your mind when it comes to the government, independence, and the opposition? Issues that matter to you. 1-800-534-8255. Waiting to hear from you. For the Record.
This is For the Record with Ort Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me, Dr. Steve McFeel. For those of you who are coming from the eastern end of the island, if you're experiencing any additional delays, more than is normal, I'm made to understand that there may have been a 3-vehicle accident somewhere near Hurley's, Grand Harbor. I'm not sure whether it's probably just a fender bender, or we hope it is just a fender bender, but that may be contributing to the additional delays that you may be experiencing if you're heading from the eastern end of the island. For those of you also who have an interest in what the Judicial Committee of the Privy Council in the United Kingdom is doing, I noticed on their website today that they will be issuing 2 judgments on the 14th of this month. 2 judgments. They have not indicated what those cases are. So I won't speculate at all, but 2 judgments, so you may want to follow that up as well. Bear in mind that they heard in February, actually, the arguments in relation to the Day case here in the Cayman Islands. They also heard the Bermuda case as well, so we would anticipate that sometime this year we should get a ruling on those cases as well. So, Doc, back over to the Mental Health Act 2021. When we look at Section 3 in terms of the application of this legislation, and I'm going to ask you to comment on it, it says here this act does not apply to a person on the sole grounds that that person has voluntarily sought treatment for a mental illness, serious mental illness, or mental impairment, or that person is acutely intoxicated. And then on subsection 2 of that section, it says, for purposes of clarification, it is declared that this act shall apply to a person referred to in subsection 1 only if that person is certified as having mental impairment or serious mental illness under this act. Can you put that in layman's term for us, please?
Well, what Section 3 provides for is it recognizes that the ability of a person with decision-making capacity to make his or her own decisions about assessment or treatment and care of mental illness. If you go, what that means, if you go to the hospital or you go to seek psychiatric treatment, the act does not apply to you. Or if you're drunk, the act does not apply to you, because sometimes you may be put in protective care because you have been drinking, and the person who is putting you in protective care, whether it's someone under the mental health law or a police constable, might be mistakenly that you are mentally ill because you have been totally acute drunk, what they call it. It doesn't apply to that. It doesn't apply to you if you voluntarily, or if you recognize that you have some mental challenges and you want to take mental treatment. It doesn't apply to you. It only applies to you when you're in protective custody of hurting yourself or hurting people or other people. It doesn't apply for you when you voluntarily go for treatment to a mental institution or hospital.
Okay, and then this other subsection. Section 4, where it says that the authority of a guardian over a patient takes precedence over the authority of any other person.
Yes. Once you have been made a guardian over a person by a court order, then it is the guardian who makes the decision. Not the person in authority, not the psychiatrist or the mental of the officer who provided mental services, or the person themselves. It's the guardian who has the power to decide whether what kind of orders or if the law applies to them. Mm-hmm. So that it gives a guardian then under this law. This act, it gives the guardian the power to make decisions for the mentally ill person.
Okay, and I think we have enough time to cover one more section. Section 5, it says where a guardian or nearest relative is of the opinion that a person may be suffering from a mental impairment or serious mental illness, or is not compliant with treatment related to that person's mental illness, the guardian or nearest relative may report the matter to a medical officer.
Yes, that is so because if you are not taking your medication, or if you are mentally ill, then there might under the act there might have to be what they call an emergency detention order made for your benefit, mm-hmm. And so a guardian or a relative can make that decisions for you. But if it's a relative, it means a guardian under Section 5 has the priority over a relative.
Okay, got you. Okay, we reached the top of the hour for our 8 o'clock news. Folks, please stay tuned. It's a very, very important topic that we're discussing, and we will return to that discussion after the 8 o'clock news.
Thank you, Mr. Connor. And studio time now by Foster's is 7:59.
When you're on the go, let the Island Supermarket shop for you.
To start, head to fosters.ky/go.
Then shop all of your favorite products online, from produce and seafood to grocery and frozen, all picked by our team of shoppers ready to go.
Choose next day curbside pickup from Foster's Camana Bay or delivery island-wide.
To get your order started, visit fosters.ky/go.
This is Groceries on the Go.
And we are Foster's Go. Shop online anytime.
The voice of the Cayman Islands.
89.9 FM in Grand Cayman and 93.9 FM in Cayman Brac and Little Cayman.
Silver wings shining in the sunlight.
Radio Cayman.
The 8 a.m. news is proudly sponsored by the Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan. For further information, please visit chamberpension.ky. The Cayman Islands Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan. We're here for you. We are a not-for-profit, member-centric plan with a democratically elected volunteer board of trustees representing all sectors of the Cayman Islands economy. We have an all-in expense ratio of less than 1%, over 20,000 members, and $490 million in assets under management. We were the first multi-employer pension plan approved by the regulator in the late 1990s, and today we are still strong, secure, and are here for our employees and employers alike. If you would like to join or require further information, visit chamberpension.ky. And for information as it happens, follow us on Facebook, LinkedIn, or Instagram. Email admin@pensions.ky or call 745-7630. The Cayman Islands Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan. We're here for you.
For today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
With your latest news, I'm Carsley Fuller. Hurricane prep continues across Cayman's emergency services. More now from CIG TV's Donna Bush.
The
Royal Cayman Islands Police Service Operations Unit joined members of the regiment on Friday for an important hurricane preparation exercise. The helicopter used in the mock rescue scenario took place at the Bodden Town playing field, and it's all in preparation for this hurricane season and the disaster preparedness plan. Now, the Air Operations Unit has trained with the regiment on utilizing helicopters and preparing landing sites should we be hit by a hurricane, or if we need to assist or provide support to other overseas territories. Attending the exercise was His Excellency Governor Martin Roper, Premier the Honourable Wayne Panton, Home Affairs Minister the Honourable Bernie Bush, and senior officers of the RCIPS's Air Operations and the regiment teams.
And the Cayman Islands Monetary Authority launches its first ever island-wide children art competition. As Radio Cayman's Paula Cow reports, the online art competition reflects on the lessons from COVID-19.
CIMA first ever island-wide children art competition themed A Reflection, Lessons from COVID comes on the heels of an in-house competition. Acting Managing Director Patrick Bunn says the pandemic has affected the lives of many children worldwide and in some cases negatively impacted their academic studies, social skills and mental health. He adds, having recently marked the one-year anniversary of the pandemic, not only is this competition timely, it also allows us the opportunity to offer children an artistic platform to reflect on the lessons learned from COVID-19 and share their stories of hardship, courage and resilience during the past year. Winners from the competition will be selected from 3 age group categories, ages 3 to 5, 6 to 12, and 13 to 18, and submissions will be judged based on visual impact, appropriate interpretation of the theme, demonstration of skill and effort, and creativity. Prizes to include $50, $75, and $100 gift cards. Only electronic artwork should be submitted and sent to childrenart@cima.ky with each entry including child's name, age and school. Entry deadline is June 16th, 2021, which will be announced by June 24th.
Now with a check of international news, here's the BBC, which will take us out of the newscast. I'm Kersley Fuller from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
BBC News, we're Jerry Smith. The US National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan has accused Russia and China of coercing and intimidating countries into accepting their coronavirus vaccines. He said that by July, the US would have shared far more jabs than either Moscow or Beijing, simply because it was the right thing to do. Beijing has accused the United States of paranoid delusion over US plans to spend $250 billion to counter China's growing economic strength. A Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesman said America should stop treating China as a threat. Israel's president has asked the heir to the British throne, Prince Charles, to help bring a brain-damaged girl to Israel after a UK court ordered that her life support system be turned off. Her ultra-Orthodox Jewish parents oppose this on religious grounds. El Salvador has adopted Bitcoin as legal tender, becoming the first country to make it one of its official national currencies. The IMF has expressed concern. The Iraqi authorities have released a prominent militia commander, Qasim Musli, who was arrested last month. His detention was reportedly linked to missile attacks on bases that house US troops. The German carmaker Volkswagen says it's been charged in France over alleged cheating on emissions testing in the latest fallout from the Dieselgate scandal. Its French rival Renault faces similar charges. Both companies deny wrongdoing. Prosecutors in the Central African Republic have accused a French national of espionage, conspiracy and harming state security. The man was arrested last month in Bangui, a move that France has criticised. And Britain and the European Union have held talks in London to resolve post-Brexit trading problems that have fueled tensions in Northern Ireland. BBC News.
The 8 a.m. news is proudly sponsored by the Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan. For further information, please visit chamberpension.ky.
The Cayman Islands Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan. We're here for you. Are you aware of the performance of your pension plan? The Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan provides quarterly fund fact sheets for our members to stay informed with the plan's performance. For the year ended August 31st, various life cycle funds provided returns between 9.2% and 16.5%, and our all-in expense ratio is currently the lowest it's ever been, a record low at 0.72%. Visit chamberpension.ky to review our fund fact sheets. You can see the performance as far back as 10 years. Remember that pensions are a longer-term investment strategy. Focus on the long term rather than the short-term returns. The Cayman Islands Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan continues to perform for you.
Stay in touch with Radio Cayman for the latest in news and information.
Follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, www.radiocayman.gov.ky.
Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice, your radio.
The HSA Specialist Clinic has relocated to a new, modern, state-of-the-art facility at Smith Road Center to offer you a better patient experience. Receive care from top specialists in chiropractic, complementary and alternative medicine, neurology, ENT, urology, pain management, and more. Our orthopedic and telemedicine clinics remain at the Cayman Islands Hospital campus. Please remember to bring your own face mask when visiting any HSA location. Visit our website, hsa.ky, to learn more. At the HSA, you matter to us.
Radio Cayman brings you For the Health of It live with Tara Bush on Wednesday at 7 p.m. And if you miss it, you can tune in for the rebroadcast on Saturdays at 9:30 a.m. Chlorodo Bleach is proud to sponsor For the Health of It. Mildew, no problem. Stains, no problem. Whites, no problem. Sanitary cleaning, no problem. Chlorodo Bleach has got you covered. For the ultimate clean, use Chlorodo Bleach. Available at Foster's Food Fair, 2 liters and 1 gallon sizes. Pick up your bottle today.
The ultimate clean is a Chlorodo Clean.
The 8:10 a.m. weather report, Monday through Friday, is proudly sponsored by Pan American International Insurance Corporation. Pan American International Insurance Corporation, meeting the life, accident, and health insurance needs of individuals and businesses to ensure financial security and peace of mind. For more information, call 949-8304 or visit www.palig.com. That's PALIG.com.
For over 100 years, more than 5.8 million people across the Americas and the Caribbean have placed their trust in Pan American Life Insurance Group. We have delivered on our promise and have proven that we're more than just an insurance company, we're family. To learn more about our first-in-class group health and employee benefit solutions, please visit Pan American Life Insurance Company of the Cayman Islands at Unit 221, Cannon Place East, North Sound Road, Grand Cayman, or contact us at 949-8304. You can also visit us online at www.palig.com. Pan American Life, people you can trust for life.
A pleasant good morning. Let's take a look at the very latest weather report. Current temperature is 84 degrees. Relative humidity is 85%. The barometric pressure 30.01 inches and rising. The wind is out of the north-northeast at 7 knots. Overnight low temperature was 77 degrees. Synopsis indicate isolated showers along with moderate easterly winds and seas will continue across the Cayman area for the next 24 hours as a ridge of high pressure system lingers north of the Caribbean Sea. Radar images show isolated showers in and around the Cayman area moving towards the west. Now the forecast for today calling for partly cloudy skies with cloudy spells and a 40% chance of morning showers with possible thunder, especially over Cayman Brac and Little Cayman. Temperatures will be in the upper 80s. Your winds will be east to northeast at 5 to 10 knots with higher gusts. Seas will be slight with wave heights of 1 to 3 feet. The forecast for tonight calling for partly cloudy skies with a 30% chance of late night showers, and temperatures will fall to the upper 70s tonight. Your winds will be easterly at 5 to 10 knots. Seas will be slight to moderate with wave heights of 2 to 4 feet. Today's high tide will be this morning at 8:19, low tide this afternoon at 2 minutes past 3, and a high tide again tonight at 4 minutes after 10. The sun will set this evening at a minute after 7 o'clock and will rise tomorrow morning at 5:47. And the outlook is calling for similar weather conditions through Friday morning.
10 a.m. weather report, Monday through Friday, is proudly sponsored by Pan American International Insurance Corporation. Pan American International Insurance Corporation, meeting the life, accident, and health insurance needs of individuals and businesses to ensure financial security and peace of mind. For more information, call 949-8304 or visit www.palig.com. That's PALIG.com.
For over 100 years, more than 5.8 million people across the Americas and the Caribbean have placed their trust in Pan American Life Insurance Group. We have delivered on our promise and have proven that we are more than an insurance company. We are family. To learn more about our first-in-class individual and group life, disability and accident solutions, please visit Pan American International Insurance Corporation at Unit 221, Cannon Place East, North Song Road, Grand Cayman, or contact us at 949-8304 and visit us online at www.palig.com. Pan American Life, people you can trust for life.
During these unprecedented times, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the Cayman Strong Series. The Cayman Strong Series is brought to you by OnCourse Cayman. Visit oncourse.ky to view a full list of wellness services and their qualified team. OnCourse Cayman, health, wellness, and happiness.
Achieving your goals is a very rewarding feeling, but at times can feel very frustrating, especially if and when we miss our target. As you approach your goals in life, set yourself up for success.
When setting your goals, tell a friend. Having an accountability partner is often helpful in achieving your goals. Let your parents and partner know what you are planning or doing. Sharing with others also helps us to develop the ideas and our vision. Writing down your goals can help to solidify them for you and help you to stay accountable.
Change your thinking and change your life.
Radio Cayman's Cayman Strong Series was brought to you by OnCourse Cayman. Visit oncourse.ky to view a full list of wellness services and their qualified team. OnCourse Cayman, health, wellness, and happiness.
These days, feelings of loneliness, anxiety, stress, and depression can be overwhelming. Just know you are not alone. OnCourse Cayman offers private mental health services for children, teens, adults, and groups. Visit oncourse.ky to view a full list of wellness services and their qualified team. OnCourse Cayman, health, wellness, and happiness.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Planning a meeting, event, or office celebration? Visit subway.ky to place your catering order today.
Good morning once again. Let's take a look at traffic. We understand there's been a 3-vehicle accident in the vicinity of Hurley, so expect some delays as you head on down to Georgetown. Traffic is bumper to bumper coming from the east on Shamrock Road and also coming off of Rex Crichton Boulevard. Traffic busy and moving along steadily at the moment on the Lidford Pearson Highway. As you get further down, of course, it's going to get a lot busier, so expect some delays. Coming off of Bobby Thomason Way, traffic is steady but flowing, and steady traffic on Huldah Avenue. Light traffic on Owen Roberts Drive, and traffic moving on pretty good on Godfrey Nixon Way and Eastern Avenue, and traffic flowing at a good pace on Shedden Road. As we look to the West Bay Road in front of the Ritz, traffic is moderate in both directions. And traffic is steady but flowing coming from the Butterfield Roundabout, heading towards the Industrial Park area. If you see any other accidents or incidents on Cayman's roads, give us a call here at Radio Cayman 949-6990. That's the very latest on your traffic. Join us again. At about 10 minutes after 12 o'clock, we'll give you another traffic report. Remember, click it or take it.
At Subway, we know a meal isn't quite complete without a side, and that's why we're introducing waffle fries. Subway's waffle fries are oven-baked softness with extra crispy edge, giving a satisfying taste to be enjoyed as is or in any of Subway's dipping sauces. Order waffle fries as a side item for $2 or make it a meal deal. Subway, eat fresh.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Planning a meeting, event, or office celebration? Visit subway.ky to place your catering order today.
We asked 100 people what they would do with a little extra time. Top answers included hang with friends, sleep, volunteer, walking on the beach, watch TV. But the odd thing is, no one said, stand in line to pay my bill. Funny that. Now Logic introduces Logic My Account. Pay online, view bill history, schedule automatic payments, and more. Go to logic.ky/my account and pay online, not stand in line. Logic My Account. Go on. Give yourself a little extra time. Bake a cake, browse the web, yoga, spring clean.
The Cayman Islands Seafarers Association wishes to inform all members that there will be a quarterly social on Tuesday, 15 June at 7 p.m. in the Seafarers Hall, 11 Victory Avenue, Prospect. 3 buses will leave from West Bay Town Hall at 6 p.m. The bus marked Bobo $1 public transport and is blue in color will do pickups from British Caymanian, Uncle Bill's, Walker's Road, Shedden Road, and Crew Road. The bus from East End will do pickups at the school parking, gas station, and wreck of the 10 Sails, starting at 5:45. North side pickups at Chisholm Store and the soccer field, starting at 6:15. Boddentown pickups at Lorna's gas station at 6:45, and Savannah pickups at the gas station at 7 p.m.
For the record, with Ort Connor.
Initiating system. For information that matter. For the record, with Orit Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me this morning, Dr. Steve McField. We're talking about mental health legislation in the Cayman Islands. And before we went to our news, I was having Dr. McField comment on the various sections on the Mental Health Act. But we do have a caller, so let's go to the phone lines. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, OC, and good morning to your guest.
Good morning, sir. Good morning.
Peter Schmidt here. On the question of guardianship, my family has an issue of dealing with a person that is mentally handicapped, and there has been some difficult issues arising. The person no longer has a direct next of kin. Mm-hmm. The closest person now would be a cousin, or because there are some aunts, but they are really aging now and can no longer carry the burden. So we have been advised to apply for guardianship for various reasons, like signing for medical procedures and things like that. And our concern is because the person that we're talking about likes to roam. And we're wondering what would happen if we were designated, or if my wife was designated a guardian for this person. And, we couldn't really imprison her, and she would roam and would get hit by a truck or, some other accident happen. Could the guardian be held legally responsible then?
Okay, Doc?
No, the guardian is responsible to make decisions for the person, but the guardian is not responsible, like, for if there's an accident or something like that. The guardianship is that you're responsible for the care, control, finances, property, receivership of property if they have property, and to make decisions for where they live and so forth. But if there's an accident or something, you're not responsible for the accident. That's not what guardianship means. And so it's in my opinion, it seems to me that this person needs there's not what the law calls for near relative, then you need to have a guardianship order from the court. That is something that you can quickly get, and all you need to do that is to make an application and to get the medical officer to certify
to certify that the person is in need, is suffering from some mental impairment or mental illness, and is in need of a guardian. And the courts will appoint you and your wife if you make the application as the guardian of that person.
Okay, well, I thank you very much for that explanation, because it was really concerning. You want to let the person live their life. Unfortunately, involves sometimes, like walking out and just walking about in West Bay, or and you worry about what the legal repercussions would be. The family, of course, would immediately, even though they wouldn't visit before or have anything to do, but then they would immediately say, "Oh, you didn't take care of the person and you let them roam about." And so I was just wondering if there was a legal side where you could be found negligent as well.
Well, once you become a guardian, then you would have power to restrain the person from walking about, and you could take actions to prevent that. But if you were negligent and not doing that, what you were supposed to be, then perhaps you would be found be responsible for something that happened to the guardian. Yes. But as long as you carry out your duties as a guardian, and one of the reasons why you were calling it's because it seems to me that you were concerned about the person walking about and not under control. That would be what you would have to do as a guardian of that person, to have complete control over their movements and where they live and how they go about their daily life.
Yes, well, you are correct in your assumption. And exactly that. It just would seem that the person is accustomed to roaming, and so it would feel like imprisonment probably to them if you did have to restrain them, from moving about. So.
Well, if in that respects, then you could then apply for what the law calls for an emergency detention order, and which then that would put the person under the restraint of the law, and then the law in which we discussed this morning would apply to that person, and then you would have you would be able to get all the treatments necessary under that law.
All right. Okay. Well, I thank you very much for that explanation.
Thank you very much, caller, as well. Thank you very much. Ms. Susan, we have another caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, O.C.
Good morning. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Dr. Steve Macfield.
Good morning, sir.
Very interesting conversation, and I like the legal perspective on this. There's also the sociological perspective with regards to mental illness and also the mental health law. And the fact that it's actually being discussed at this time when many people on Facebook are actually directing their concern at one particular individual who has been protesting at the governor's residence. Now, Caymanians are offended by protests, and most of the times they do not inquire into the reasons why people protest or why an individual would be found protesting. And so sometimes our entire social, political, cultural outlook is that dissent should not take place, and if it does, it should not be expressed publicly. What we know in sociology and psychology is that when people are experiencing what they define as severe injustices, their behavior can become very erratic from the perspective of the organized society, from the point of view of the rules of the society, the conventions that governs the society, and therefore that would be considered to be out of sync with the society, and laymen would define that as insanity or mental illness because they can't explain it through their own social lens, through the lens of their own values. But their values are not defined as sanity, because many societies could be defined by other societies or other individuals as insane. The mere fact that people would actually tolerate certain types of social economic abuses could also be defined as a form of mental illness. And in regards to the particular incident at the governor's, where an individual continuously protests and becomes more and more agitated because nobody's listening to them, there are two sides here where the actual conflict and the dynamics of the situation will actually intensify the alienation of the person and the frustration of the person that could result in certain acts that might later on be described as out of sync with the consensus of the society or the morals of the society, and therefore to be considered to be imbalanced, or sometimes people extremely call that insanity. But psychologists are very careful in how they define the terminology mental illness, simply because they have learned new factors about the brain and how it works in terms of store information and in terms of how people actually recall certain types of experience. And this individual in particular seems to be recalling many of the religious experiences for strength, and therefore the exhibition of this type of religious experience or faith in public rather than in church, within the confines of a building and a congregation that justifies that. When we see this in public, it seems to be quite erratic, and people will call it insanity. But obviously it's something that lends that individual strength when that individual is denied any kind of empathy by the society or any kind of support from the society in regards to the complaint which they are making against the institutions or an institution or individuals within the society. So I think it's interesting that we're discussing this as people agitate for actions against this individual, because I think from an international perspective and a human rights perspective, I'm sure that the governor is aware that it could cause some serious attention to the Cayman Islands and how it actually handles protests and how it is regarded in terms of human rights situation. We in the Cayman Islands, I know I'm one that they see as insane or have seen as insane. And as a sociologist and as a political activist, I was very aware of things that I did that was very outside the norms, and that I actually, in many cases, intentionally did things to get the attention, the sympathy or the empathy, in order to be able to be seen as a respectable person who contributed to the society and should be able to make a living in the society and have a certain sense of humanity respected in the society. I have all empathy for this person and people who are put into those positions where they have to do what I call guerrilla theater and go to these extremes in order to get the attention which is necessary to seek or have access to the seat of justice in the Cayman Islands. So I think it's that way of looking at it, and good that Steve brought up the way in which this law came about in the first place, very politically intended. So one must be very careful how one uses this in this particular situation. So I like the discussion. Thanks very much for actually highlighting these issues again, OC, because it's so important.
Thank you very much, Doc. Thank you very much for that. We have to take a commercial break. Do we have any callers on hold, Ms. Susan? No callers on hold. When we return, the conversation will continue, so please stay tuned. We have lots of information to share with you.
Since March 2004, West Bay Pharmacy has kept their doors open to the local communities, even before, during, and after Hurricane Ivan. At West Bay Pharmacy, our staff provides so much more than pharmaceutical excellence. From the moment you walk through our doors to completing your cash out, our staff will have put your healthcare concerns at ease. We would like to take this moment to thank our loyal friends and customers. To us at West Bay Pharmacy, our patients are our primary concern. We provide thorough background checks and precise calculations to ensure your medical safety. Thank you for being a part of our family and for choosing West Bay Pharmacy, where we care about your health.
Time to lace up your sneakers and hit the road for the first ever Botanic Park Queen's Birthday 5K. Come out to the park on June 13th and help raise money for the Children's Garden Development. Your $25 fee includes a t-shirt, breakfast, and a chance to win in our prize draw. But there's more. You can win a prize and take home the bragging rights for the best Royal Fascinator design. Register now for the Botanic Park Queen's Birthday 5K at racecaribbean.net. This ad is sponsored by Coca-Cola.
Health City is now open at Camana Bay, offering a wide range of specialties at our state-of-the-art Camana Bay Clinic. We are here to help you save time and feel better. We are open weekdays, weekends, and evenings for your convenience and are dedicated to reducing your wait time while improving your health. Friendly staff, expert care, lab services, and diagnostics in one convenient location from the hospital you know and trust. Health City at Camana Bay, within your reach.
System 1 loaded.
1-800-534-8255. What is on your mind when it comes to the government, independence, and the opposition? Issues that matter to you. 1-800-534-8255. Waiting to hear from you. For the Record.
This is For the Record with Ort Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me, Dr. Steve McField. We're talking about mental health legislation in the Cayman Islands. And Doc, I want to commend the Human Rights Commission.
Yes.
The current membership of the commission as well. Ms. Susan, I'm getting an echo. Okay. The current membership of the Human Rights Commission as well as previous ones. Now, in 2013, Mr. James Austin Smith was the chair of the Human Rights Commission. And at that point in time, the Human Rights Commission published a document called Human Rights Essentials, a guide for mental health practitioners in the Cayman Islands. And it goes through about our Bill of Rights and everything, and then it spoke about the Mental Health Law 2013 revision, which was in place at that point in time when this document was produced, and it talks about the basic principles of that piece of legislation, and you spoke about the principles of the intents and purposes of the 2021 Act
law.
as well.
Act.
And on the 2013 revision, it speaks to the fact that some of the basic principles encourages voluntary admission and treatment. It encourages community-based treatment, enforce confidentiality and anonymity where possible, balances and prioritizes human rights and safety of patients and the public, the use of voluntary treatment settings only in critical circumstances, and utilizing the least restrictive or alternative treatment and detention. And some of the rationale for the legislation at that point in time was to balance safety and protection for individuals and society, provide integration into the community, improve provisions of services, increase access to care services, enhance human rights, promote rights in other critical areas such as housing, education, and employment, increase overall productivity, encourage collaboration, empower families and caregivers, provide multiple checks and balances, and promote mental health and prevent serious mental illness as well. So those were some of the basic principles as well as the rationale for the legislation. And I would imagine that the 2021 Act remains the same as well. So And also, while I'm at it, why don't I share this also with our audience? The current Human Rights Commission is a chapter, Human Rights, Education, Events and Presentations. And there, in this particular document, it talks about mental health, a booklet that was produced. And it says here, as reported in the Commission's 2015 annual report, a review of the World Health Organization's assessment instrument for mental health systems report released by the Ministry of Health was conducted and a statement made. The Commission liaised with the chairman of the Mental Health Commission to determine how the Commission could best support its efforts. It was agreed that the Commission would create an educational booklet which would detail those rights most relevant to mental health professionals and provide information on best human rights practice whilst treating these vulnerable individuals. The content of the draft booklet was reviewed and discussed extensively by the Commission throughout 2016, and the layout and design of the booklet was coordinated by the Government Information Services. Commission printed 50 copies of the booklet, which was presented by the chairman of the Commission to the chairman of the Mental Health Commission, and the project was acknowledged in a press release recognizing World Mental Health Day, 10th of October 2016. And at that time, they say that the booklet was available on the Commission's website. Now, I'll do some more research, or if someone has information in terms of whether or not we have current documents that are more current than that 2016 document, I would be more than happy to hear about it as well. Meanwhile, I will continue to do my research. It has been limited so far because I only started this yesterday evening, and I've tried to get as much in as possible. It sounds like we have a caller, Doc. Let's go to the phone lines. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Hi, good morning, gentlemen. How are you?
Good morning. How are you? Fine, thanks.
Good. I enjoy discussion. I wanted to just say that, we have some issues as well in regards to sentencing from the court when it comes to those with mental health, and they haven't been able to actually sentence them to any particular institution because there isn't a provision for that, and so you find that they end up at either Fairbanks or Northwood, and there isn't sufficient provision for them there, and so those persons either suffer, those around them suffer because the provision just not adequate. But I know that the prison law makes provision for the CMO, who happens to also be the CMO of the HSA as medical director of the prison. He has provision under the prison law to actually put those persons in overseas care if that is such that needs to happen, and that's something we could be mindful of as well. So it doesn't mean that they have to get stuck at Fairbanks or get stuck at Northwood if there isn't provision locally, which we don't really have locally.
Yeah, I believe, though, caller, that construction has commenced in terms of facilities in East End.
They are well on the way, and they are well on the way in advance. And I think that that it will be reasonable to say that if there's an emergency treatment order has to be made soon, that they would be able to make those orders here, and there would be facilities in which people will have to go. And in the old days, there was a medical officer or the cabinet could make the provisions for treatment outside of the islands also for people medically ill. But I think that we're becoming more civilized now. And we're acknowledging that mental health doesn't mean that people are crazy and are throwing things about and have to be restrained and tied down like you see in some of the movies. People are mental ill because of all the things. People are mental ill because of they're physically ill, and so physical illness can also bring on mental illness. And I think that's recognized. And the law has very very balanced and is very clear. And I think that under Section 6 of the law, if you're not going to to get treatment voluntarily yourself, then the only way that you could get treatment under the law was be under an emergency detention order. Mm-hmm. That is the start of how they act envisage that you come under medical attention.
Okay, you still there, caller?
Yes, I'm here because I was concerned whether this medical facility was going to allow the option of sentencing by the court.
Oh yes. It's going to have enough room for everyone, I guess, and of course you know, I mean, this is on the political side. They say once you start building institutions to house people, you're going to have the thing is that you find the excuse to fill them up. So I don't think that there'll be a problem.
We don't become an excuse, but I really want to see the mental health because it saddens me to see some of the persons on the road that we have, those who carry all of their belongings with them all of the time.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes.
They're not able to secure a place, and I don't think it. I think even for themselves, they're weary of whatever, because I don't think in all circumstances that persons who suffer from mental health are in that state all the time. Mm-hmm. I think they're lucid times, and it's the lucid times that make all of the other times more difficult, you know, and then you as a person, I mean, I see my friends who were in school with me, and it saddens me. It saddens me sometimes that I see them. You see them, they haven't bathed, they have a body odor, and that was never that person. And you look at them and you think, my God, what happened? Where did we fail? Where did we fail as a society? You know, and what is the outcome for this person's life? Is this all it is for them? That they're going to walk the road for 20, 25, 30 years, and that's it? It certainly can't be. So I'm glad to hear about the mental health.
Well, I think you have to give praises also to Dr. Mark Lockhart, who has spearheaded this revolutionary facilities to treat people, and you have to give him credit. He says fought for this for years and years and years, and now it seems to, that is becoming under fruition. And I think that those facilities are going to be ready sometime early this year.
I later this year. That the persons that need it are going to get into those facilities, and we're not going to see them still on the roadside and not having provision, because I think that's what we've lacked, and whoever it is that's responsible for that, because long before Dr. Lockhart, there were many other individuals fighting to have this established, and so we're grateful for everybody who has played a part in this.
Yes.
We want to ensure, too, that we have proper step-down facilities like the one that has been established in West Bay, so that persons who do come out of institutions can transition back into society without being just taken out of a care facility and expected to cope, you know, because one thing to get care, and then one thing to be put back into an environment where that care isn't there and everything falls to pieces. So we're really glad to see all two coming together and really looking forward to some positive outcome and support from the community.
Thank you,
people
ma'am.
need to understand that mental health, like any other medical treatment, medical illness, is serious. It's not a joke. It's not something that people can take lightly. And I'm not expecting everyday persons to give diagnoses, because I think that's what's going on as well. We see people and we decide, oh, no, that person can't be this, or no, that person's full of cognizance of all of this. And I think we need to move away from that. I think we need to look at ourselves and decide, if I were that person, would I be doing that? And if the answer is no, then expect that there could be something else pushing and driving things that are happening. So, anyway, I appreciate your time.
Thank you. Thank you very much, and we certainly appreciate your input as well. We're going to take a commercial break. When we return, the conversation will continue, so please stay tuned.
Are you feeling sick but don't feel ill enough to go to the doctor? Ask your pharmacist for advice. Here at West Bay Pharmacy, our pharmacists have been trained to offer helpful, easy-to-understand advice on the treatment of everyday minor ailments for yourself and all the family. Anything from headaches, cough, and sore throat to cold sores, our pharmacists will know when medical help is needed and will not hesitate to refer you to your doctor if your symptoms demand it. Like doctors, our pharmacists have a professional code, which means all personal information you give them will be treated in the strictest confidence. Visit us today at West Bay Pharmacy, where we care about your health.
Make your house into a home Welcome to Brand Source Home Gallery, your source for premium products and a premium experience. We'll design and install your dream kitchen with crafted cabinets, complemented with elegant appliances. We'll fill it with quality houseware and cookware. Custom designed closet and storage solutions organize and beautify any area. And with the finest bedding, you'll get a perfect night's sleep knowing Brand Source Home Gallery has everything you need to make your house a home.
When I was growing up in Cayman, Sundays was always a big day for our family. Everyone would go to Granny's house for Sunday dinner after church. Even today, I can still smell the aroma of all the delicious food we used to eat, especially the hot, fresh baked bread smothered in butter, topped off with our favorite pan cheese. These days, I don't have enough time to cook and bake, but I do my best to carry on the Sunday tradition of family meals. And being able to get hot, fresh bread with no preservatives or additives from Caribbean Bakery is a big help for me. Shh, don't tell them, they still think I baked it. Caribbean Bakery, now delivering every Sunday to McGrath's grocery store in Eastern Avenue and Marina Drive. Caribbean Bakery, made Cayman fresh.
For the record, with Ort Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matter. For the record, with Ort Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me, Dr. Steve Macfield. We're discussing mental health legislation in the Cayman Islands. Doc, that last caller also spoke, and you spoke about overseas treatment and detention. And we if we look at the Cayman of the 50s and the 60s, when we had very little in terms of facilities here in the Cayman Islands, we saw our juveniles who transgressed and sometimes just simply because the authorities felt that the family, the head of the households, didn't have control of them, and we sent our youngsters overseas, in particular to Jamaica. We separated them from their families here. For some, it turned out pretty good. For others, they may have gone there and learned all of the tricks of the trade and came back smarter in terms of their smarter in their terms than when they left. And then, of course, we saw persons with mental health challenges as well being sent over there. Now, the thing is that when we send our citizens or our fellow Caymanians overseas, we have no oversight of that. No oversight whatsoever. And now that we have a Bill of Rights, and there are other jurisdictions that have their Bill of Rights and stuff, but don't necessarily adhere to them. So we don't know what abuses our nationals and our families are encountering when they're overseas. So it isn't something that we would want to fall back on at the end of the day.
Well, I would say that was a stage, the primitive stages of our development, when we hid those people away. Even some of our impaired people, we hid them away in our rooms. When you visited someone's houses and they had an impaired person, they would hide them in the room so you didn't see when you visited them. We did the same thing to the mental patients. We sent them away to places like Jamaica, to Bellevue. And if you ever went to Jamaica up on Windward Road and you see Bellevue, there was no treatment there. It was just a place where people could find a bed and food, but there was no treatment. There was no treatment to make people better, to put them back in the streets and put them back into society. We also did that with the prisoners too. Not only the juvenile prisoners, but the adult prisoners. We sent them to a place called the General Penitentiary in Jamaica and Raytown, where they were put with hardened criminals, with murderers and hardened gunmen and so forth and stuff. Thank God that we don't do that anymore. That was stopped. the adult prisoners transferred to Jamaica was stopped in the early 1980s when Mr. Jim Borden and the Unity team decided to build the Northward prison. A delegation went over to Jamaica and to examine the prison system, and they made a recommendation that we should not send people back there anymore. We should not transfer them anymore. And that was because we didn't have the facilities here to transfer them, and it was easier to pay somebody else to do our work for us.
Because we didn't see it as rehabilitation at that point in time. It was viewed as punishment.
And it was not part of our nation building responsibilities. So we paid other people to take care of that problem that we called it for us. Today's different. And certainly, but in the law, in the Act here, it also says, and I would like to refer to Section 14.
Okay.
It says, where it is not reasonably practicable to continue treatment in the islands. I hope it is going to be now, though.
Yes.
The Chief Medical Officer may recommend to the Cabinet that a patient be transferred to a hospital outside the islands, specializing in the treatment of mental impairment or serious mental illness, there to continue undergoing treatment subject to the laws of the country in which such hospital is situated, and the Cabinet may make an order accordingly in the prescribed form. And it says the Cabinet may provide for the reception outside the islands of persons subject to an order made under subsection 1. That's the one I just read.
Okay.
So, because of Mark Lockhart and all those other people, and I can say the past government, I guess, they put the money where we say their mouth is, and they're building these homes now in East End District to house these kind of people. Now they don't have to send them overseas anymore for treatment, and they're not going to be subject to the laws of the hospitals of some other places, because when they went to other places, they did not go to a hospital. They went to a holding pen up on Windward Road. They called the Mad House in Jamaica. That's where they went. And there was no, like I said, I went there, visited there in the 80s too, when the Jim Borden's sent delegation over, and there, I didn't see any treatment for people who were mentally ill there. It was a worse place. It was the worst place where people sleep on the floor, and things like that, and people still roaming the streets. And I am so thankful to the powers that be that we are now taking this into account very seriously, and that we are providing for our people who are mentally impaired and who are suffering from some mental illness, because it seems to me that in the old days, and like say in the primitive stages of our development, we did not think that mental illness was similar to physical illness, and that we think that that was something that was a disgrace to be mentally ill. I'm so happy now that we've taken that into account and that things are happening. So perhaps we could go. Do we have callers?
No.
So go on. Perhaps we could just let your listeners hear how the person is brought into the system to get treatment.
Sure.
Okay.
Yes. Go ahead, Don.
If a person who's suffering mental illnesses or mental issues do not volunteer to go to the to get treatment, or if he's not represented by a guardian or a near relative, then it seems to me that the stages in which you enter into that institution is set out in Section 6.
Okay.
Section 6 is, if the medical officer has the opinion that the person is or may be suffering from mental impairment or serious mental illness, the medical officer may order the detention of that person in a hospital or other place of safety for up to 72 hours. And if the medical officer does so, shall in writing as soon as practicable thereafter inform the Mental Health Commission, supply with a copy of his professional opinion, and otherwise comply with any regulation that may be made in that regard. And then subsection 2 says the patient or nearest relative may, within 24 hours of the order being made, request a second opinion from another medical officer, and if the second opinion does not recommend the issuance of an emergency detention order, the order shall not be made, and the medical officer who issued the first opinion shall refer the matter together with all records to the commission, which shall make such decision as it thinks fit. And subsection 3 says, a patient who is detained under this section, but who is of the opinion that there were no reasonable grounds for making an emergency detention order, may at any time after the making of the order, up to 14 days from the expiration of the order, personally or through the nearest relative, file an appeal with the Medical Health Commission, and the commission may affirm or expunge the order. And subsection 4 says, where a patient has been detained and released under an emergency detention order 3 or more times in 30 days, the Mental Health Commission may, on its initiative or that of the patient personally or by a nearest relative, review the patient's files and related records and make such recommendation in relation to the care of the patient as it thinks fit. And subsection 5 says, after an emergency detention order has been made, the medical officer, A, may, if the medical officer forms the opinion that there is no need to further detain the person concerned, order the release of that person, or B, shall, where the medical officer forms the opinion that the person is in need of further assessment to determine whether the person needs to undergo treatment for mental impairment or a serious mental illness, make an observation order under Section 8. And subsection 6, where a person is under an emergency order, detention order, treatment may be administered to that person without that person's consent, if that is in that person's best interests. And subsection 7 says, in this section, emergency detention order means an order made under subsection 1. And so that is how the person comes into the system to be treated. And then subsection says, and this is very important. Subsection says,
Which subsection that is?
Subsection 7. Section 7 says, apprehension of a person suspected to be a danger. Where it appears to any constable that any person is, by reasons of mental impairment or serious mental illness, an immediate danger or is likely to become a danger to themselves or others, that constable may take such persons into protective custody and with all reasonable dispatch, but in any case not longer than 12 hours, bring the person before a government medical officer registered under the Health Practitioners Act 2021 revision. And subsection 2 says the medical officer, the medical doctor referred to above, shall examine that person, and if the medical officer considers that the person should be further detained, the medical officer shall, within 12 hours of receiving the patient, make an emergency detention order under subsection 6 after consultation with a medical officer.
Okay, we reached the top of the hour for our headline news at 9 o'clock. Folks, please stay tuned. For the record, with Dr. Steve McPhail, will be back shortly.
Radio Cayman.
The voice.
The heart. The soul of the Cayman Islands.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman. Your voice, your choice.
Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
Government reported the results of 196 COVID-19 tests on Tuesday. One came back positive. As of Monday, nearly 87,000 vaccines had been administered locally. Details claiming to reveal how little income tax U.S. billionaires pay have been leaked to a news site. ProPublica says it has seen the tax returns of some of the world's richest people, including Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, and Warren Buffett. The website alleges Amazon's Bezos paid no tax in 2007 and 2011, while Tesla's Musk paid nothing in 2018. A White House spokeswoman called the leak illegal, and the FBI and tax authorities are investigating. And U.S. Senate lawmakers have approved a massive spending plan to boost technology research and production. The proposed measures come in the face of growing international competition, particularly from China. A Beijing official hit back at the bill on Wednesday, saying it, quote, exaggerated the China threat. The bill, which must pass the House of Representatives before being signed into law, is a rare point of agreement between Republicans and Democrats. Those are your headlines. I'm Carsley Fuller.
For the latest in news and information,
follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, radiocayman.gov.ky.
For the record, with Ort Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matter. For the record, with Ort Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. It is my pleasure to have in the studio with me this morning. You can probably hear about the excitement in my voice. Happy to have Dr. Steve McFeel in the studio with me, with his brilliant mind here as well. So what we're looking at the Mental Health Act 2021 revision. We're going over the various orders, observation order. We're going to be talking about treatment orders. We're going to be talking about temporary holding power. We're going to be talking about the emergency medical treatment order. We're going to also talk about the assisted outpatient treatment order, the various provisions of the Act, Mental Health Act 2021 revision. And we need to tie that in. We need to tie that in with the provisions of our Bill of Rights. One particular section of our Bill of Rights that addresses the issue of torture and inhumane treatment. And again, I'm sharing this with you from that document that was produced by the then Human Rights Commission under the chairman of Mr. James Austin Smith. And in speaking of torture and inhumane treatment, it says, in simple terms, protection against torture means you cannot be subjected to acts that intentionally inflict severe pain or suffering, whether physical or mental. Protection against inhumane and degrading treatment or punishment, or inhuman actually, and degrading treatment or punishment means you cannot be subjected to acts that intentionally inflict mental or physical suffering, anguish, humiliation, fear, or debasement, falling short of torture. Government could not torture or degrade you or allow anyone else to torture or degrade you at any time, whether in times of war or other public emergencies. Persons with mental health issues have the right to receive treatment which is proportionate to and appropriate for their condition, as well as the right to maintain a dignified state of being while in mandated care or detention. And they point out also that protection against torture and inhumane treatment is an absolute right. It is an absolute right under of Bill of Rights and our Constitution. So it is one of those that should not be abridged, and if it is abridged, then there are consequences as well. And if time permits, at some point in time, I will share with you the difference between absolute rights and qualified rights in our Bill of Rights as well. Doc, over to you. Let's continue with these orders.
Once an apprehension order has been made, once a person has been apprehended, and then an emergency detention order has been made, the person who is in that position could be subject to an observation order.
Okay.
And Section 8 says, at any time during an emergency detention, like we just read before, order, or whenever it comes to the attention of a medical officer by information from a nearest relative that any person appears to be in need of assessment to determine whether they need to undergo treatment for mental impairment or a serious mental illness, the medical officer may make an observation order. An observation order shall allow the person concerned to be detained in a hospital or prescribed place of safety for up to 14 days to facilitate the assessment of that person. And say before making an observation order, the medical officer may consult with a medical health professional, a mental health professional, B, or a social worker employed in that capacity in the government or a statutory authority, and C, a probation officer employed in that capacity in the government or a statutory authority, or D, a nearest relative. And a patient who is detained under an observation order may at any time after the making of the order, up to 7 days after expiry of the observation order, appeal to the Mental Health Commission. And it says where a person is under an observation order, treatment may be administered to that person without that person's consent if that is in the best interest of that person. Now, tied into what you just said, what you read there, you notice that within all of these orders that we have been talking about so far, the patient has the right to challenge the order. And it says, and it says a patient who's detained under an observation order may at any time after the of the order and up to 7 days after it expires, challenge the order by appealing to the Mental Health Commission. So all of these orders have safeguards and give the patient rights to say, look, the state has detained me, and they have no right to detain me, and I want my detention to be investigated by a third person other than the medical officer, and that body is the Mental Health Commission. So every one of these orders have the safeguards for the patient in the patient's best interests, and that is the good thing about these orders, because you don't want it happening in our jurisdiction like it happened in other jurisdiction where you have problems with the state and where you're demonstrating with the state, or you against the state, and then they arrest you under the Mental Health Act, detain you, and then send you off and says that you're crazy. You don't want that. You don't want that to happen here at all, because that would be terrible if that happened. Like I said, in the early 80s, that sort of thing raised its head under the first law that they started, where the police could detain you and then call the doctors to say whether you were ill, whether you were crazy or not, and everybody said it was the Jim Lawrence law. We don't want that to happen here, and so this 2021 act has set it out so it balances all the rights of an individual. And it complies with the Bill of Rights, and it complies with all of those provisions that you said, and recommendations made by the Human Rights Commission.
Yes. And you know what you're talking about there, we see that happening in the 21st century.
Oh, yes.
And those countries that have no respect for human rights,
yes.
Whether or not they have Bill of Rights in their constitutions, that all is another question.
Yes.
And they're world powers that are doing that as
That's
well.
right.
Okay, so we're going to continue on to the next
order. The next order that can be made is a treatment order. And Section 9 says, where a person under an observation order persists in that person's mental impairment or serious mental illness to an extent calling for further detention or violates an assisted outpatient treatment order, a responsible medical officer may, after consultation with another medical officer, make a treatment order. A treatment order shall be made for a defined period of time not exceeding 6 months, but may be renewed for as often as necessary until the desired objective is achieved. The responsible medical officer making or renewing a treatment order shall, as soon as practicable, inform the Medical Health Commission of the making of the order and any supporting evidence and reasoning relating to the same, and the Commission may affirm, revoke, or vary the order or make such order as it thinks fit. Where a person is under a treatment order, treatment may be administered to that person without that person's consent if that is in the person's best interests. And a person detained under a treatment order may, at any time after the making of or renewal of the order, up to 30 days after expiry of the order, appeal to the Mental Health Commission. So you see here again, in the treatment order, the treatment can take place up to 6 months, and then that could be extended. But they also have, in renewing the treatment order, that has to be sent to the Mental Health Commission. And the Mental Health Commission can either accept it, waive it, or dismiss it. And so, even when you've been treated, your rights are being protected, because you don't know that if the treatment might be a bogus or a bogus treatment or unnecessary treatment. And so even there the patient is protected. So the Mental Health Act 2021 is built in actually to protect the patient at every move, at every step of the way, once a detention order has been made, once he's taken into custody.
And the Mental Health Commission is really the one that is the guardrails for to prevent any abuse, and they're the watchdogs. At the end of the day.
That's right. That's right. And then there's something called a temporary holding power. That is set out in Section 10 of the Mental Health of the Mental Health Act 2021. It's temporary holding power. It says where a registered nurse in charge of the view is of the view that a voluntary patient suffering from mental impairment or a serious mental illness and appears likely to leave the hospital premises, the registered nurse in charge may detain such person for a period no longer than 6 hours so that a formal assessment can be made by a medical doctor. So even when you go on your own, and a nurse feels that, something, this person needs is more than what it appears on the surface. If she assesses that, or he assesses that, then that person can be detained up to 6 hours so that the nurse can have a formal assessment by the medical doctor, but not detained by an assessment by not by the nurse but by a medical doctor. And then Section 11 talks about an emergency medical treatment order. It says where a medical doctor is of the view that a patient undergoing treatment for mental impairment or a serious mental illness requires urgent treatment for a medical condition, but the patient is unable to unwilling to give consent, the medical doctor may, after consultation with the responsible medical officer, administer the minimum as necessary treatment to prevent the patient being a danger to themselves or others. And then assisted outpatient treatment order. That's set out in Section 12. Where the following is, and Section 12 provides for where following a period of hospitalization, a patient is unlikely to participate in treatment voluntarily or does not comply with recommended treatment, the responsible medical officer may make an assisted outpatient treatment order in relation to that patient. And an assisted outpatient treatment order allows the responsible medical officer to provide treatment with or without the patient's consent.
Okay, we're going to take a commercial break there, Doc. When we return, we will continue with these particular orders in our Mental Health Act 2021 revision. So please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
Did you know that defective airbags can cause serious injury or even death if not repaired immediately? Right now, millions of vehicles around the world are under recall for faulty Takata airbags, and yours could be one of them. At Vant Motors, our priority is to make sure the Toyota or Ford you drive is safe. So we are offering customers a free, fast and easy airbag swap out if your vehicle was manufactured in 2016 or earlier. Find out if you need to have new airbags installed by emailing your Ford or Toyota vehicle's VIN or vehicle identification number to service@vantmotors.com or stop by Vant's Service Center or call us at 949-2245. Don't risk it. Get the airbags in your Toyota or Ford checked for free at Vant Motors on Walkers Road.
When I was growing up in Cayman, Sundays was always a big day for our family. Everyone would go to Granny's house for Sunday dinner after church. Even today, I can still smell the aroma of all the delicious food we used to eat, especially the hot, fresh baked bread smothered in butter, topped off with our favorite pan cheese. These days, I don't have enough time to cook and bake, but I do my best to carry on the Sunday tradition of family meals, and being able to get hot, fresh bread with no preservatives or additives from Caribbean Bakery is a big help for me. Shh, don't tell them, they still think I baked it. Caribbean Bakery, now delivering every Sunday to McGrath's grocery store in Eastern Avenue and Marina Drive. Caribbean Bakery, made Cayman fresh.
Health City is now open at Camana Bay, offering a wide range of specialties at our state-of-the-art Camana Bay Clinic. We are here to help you save time and feel better. We are open weekdays, weekends, and evenings for your convenience and are dedicated to reducing your wait time while improving your health. Friendly staff, expert care, lab services, and diagnostics in one convenient location from the hospital you know and trust. Health City at Camana Bay, within your reach.
That thing we've been saying for 64 years, ignore it. Eat the KFC wings, drink the KFC gravy, fill up on fries. Just please forget the thing we normally suggest. You know, that thing you used to do with your tongue after finishing a delicious piece of our KFC chicken. We get it. It's not easy. There's a reason why it's been our slogan for over half a century. But the world's drastically changed of late, and as soon as we can embrace the change, the sooner we can all get back to doing what we do best. KFC. It's good.
For the record, with Ort Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the record, with Ort Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me, Dr. Steve Macfield. We're discussing mental health legislation in the Cayman Islands. Doc, back over to you.
And then we follow on the requirements of assisted outpatient treatment order.
Mm-hmm.
And it says an assisted outpatient treatment order shall be made for a fixed period, not exceeding 1 year, and may be renewed as often as necessary to achieve its intended objectives. And the responsible medical officer shall inform the Medical Health Commission of the making of the order, as well as providing the reasoning and evidence relied upon. If the patient violates an assisted patient treatment order, a constable shall take such person into protective custody and with all reasonable dispatch bring such person before a government medical officer. And the medical doctor shall examine the person referred to in the one I just said.
Mm-hmm.
And if the medical officer considers that person should be further detained, the medical officer shall direct that the person be detained in a hospital or other place of safety, able to receive and care for that person, there to await the decision of the medical officer who may make an observation order under Section 8. And a patient or legal representative of a patient who is dissatisfied with the making of an assisted outpatient treatment order under this section may appeal to the Mental Health Commission, and the Commission may affirm, revoke, vary, or make such order as it thinks fit. Always the balance between the making of the order and the patient's rights.
Mm-hmm.
And then Section 13 deals about prisoners remanded but unfit to plead.
Okay.
That's when people go to the court but they're unfit to plead. Nothing in this act derogates from the power of the court to deal with remanded prisoners in such manner as it thinks fit. In other words, this does not cut into the power of the court to make decisions whether a person is fit to plead or not. In other words, you can't this does not automatically say a person is fit to plead or not fit to plead. That is left back to the courts.
Okay.
And then Section 14 talks about treatment outside the islands, which we discussed already. And then Section 15 talks about enforcement of orders. An order made under this act is sufficient to the persons or persons to whom it is directed to apprehend the person referred to therein and convey that person to a hospital or other place as directed in such order, and there detain the person or cause the person to be detained. And Section 16 talks about postal restrictions. It says postal packets addressed to a patient detained under this act may be withheld if, in the opinion of a medical officer having care of that patient, the receipt thereof might have an adverse effect upon the patient, and any such packet so withheld shall be returned to the sender if the sender can be identified and located. Postal packets addressed by a patient detained under this act for dispatch by the post office may be withheld therefrom. If the addressees has given notice in writing to the medical officer requesting that communication addressed to the addressee by the patient should be withheld, or it appears to the medical officer that the packet should be unreasonably offensive to the addressee as defamatory to other persons or any other persons having care of the patient, or would be likely to prejudice the interests of the patient. Where a postal package has been withheld under this section, the patient or concerned or that person's nearest relative may within 7 days after informed of the decision also appeal to the Mental Health Commission. And then Section 17 talks about the power of the youth court. And it states, before making an order under Section 20 of the Youth Justice Act 2021 revision, the youth court, if it suspects that the juvenile subject to such order is suffering from mental impairment or serious mental illness, may order such juvenile to be held in detention for examination by the medical officer, who may, after making such examination, detain such juvenile for a period of observation under Section 8, and shall in any event report to the juvenile court that medical officer's opinion of the juvenile's mental detention. And Section 18 talks about the jurisdiction.
I'm going to ask you to go back over that Section 17 again, because in this particular case, it appears as if in the juvenile court, if the person who is presiding over that is of the opinion, and it doesn't appear as if they have to get a recommendation from someone else, they can make.
No, if the juvenile court consists of the magistrates or justice of the peace, but sometimes they do. It says the youth court, if it appears that the juvenile subject to such order is suffering from mental impairment, so it's the court that makes the direction
and the mere appearance of it.
Yes. And then Section 18 talks about the jurisdiction of the Grand Court over the property of patients and persons under guardianship. And this is what the caller that called us before. If he's still listening, this is very important to him.
Okay.
Section 18 says, in case of a patient under this act, or a person in respect of whom the Grand Court has appointed a guardian under Section 14 of the Grand Court Act 2015 revision, and has thereafter found upon examination to be a person incapable of managing their own affairs, the Grand Court may, with respect to the property and affairs of such persons, do or secure the doing of all such things as appear desirable for the maintenance or benefit of such person, of such person's family, of those whom such persons might be expected to provide if such persons were not suffering from mental impairment or serious mental illness, and for otherwise administering such persons' affairs, but shall in so doing have regard to the interests of creditors and obligees to the making of provisions for them, notwithstanding that the relevant debts and obligations may not be legally enforceable. And Section 19 says, the powers of the Grand Court exercising jurisdiction under Section 18, that's the one before. In the exercise of its jurisdiction under Section 18, the Grand Court may, on behalf of a patient or persons under guardianship, this is now when you become a guardian of a person under Section 18, arrange for a persons or persons to manage, sell, acquire, charge, or deal with property, enter into any settlement, provide for the management of a business, dissolve a partnership, complete a contract, conduct legal proceedings, and act as trustee or be appoint receiver. So this is what a guardian can do for a person who they have guardianship over and who's mentally ill.
It's almost similar to letters of administration to a certain extent.
Exactly, but it's more powerful than letters of administration, because this is you give it power over the court. In the letters of administration, you got to do what the succession law say: transfer the land to whoever is the next of kin, if there's intestate or under the will. If it's letters of administration, the bonus known.
Okay.
And then
we have go ahead. I'm gonna let you finish that. If anything, we take the caller after the break.
And then regulation: the cabinet may make regulations prescribing all manners that are required or permitted by this act to be prescribed or are necessary or convenient to be prescribed, and so forth, and penalties without prejudice to the operation of any of law for the purpose of procuring any person to be detained under this act, makes a statement in any form in the truth of which the person does not believe, or intermeddles with or deals or offers to deal with any property falsely claiming authority to do so under this act, commits an offense and is liable for summary conviction to a fine of $10,000 and to imprisonment for 1 year, and may be ordered to make restitution of any property involved in the missing. And then the effects of the certain provision of the act is Section 46, 47, 48, 156, and 157 of the Criminal Procedure Code are to be read together with this act as if they were form part thereof. But where any provision of the code is in conflict with any specific provision of this act, the code shall prevail. So that's the end of it.
Yeah. Okay. Ms. Susan, we're going to try to grab that caller before the break. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Hello. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Good. Shows on the horizon. Get ready to go right now. My call about on this morning. Mr. Osina, off the sea, right? In a primary level, right? Anyone could fall to that gap, right? The nutrient in someone's brain can trigger off any objective. The step, long term, short term, right? I'm breaking on fast. For instance, Robert Williams, doctor, right? Always mind happy, depression, he can life out, right? Right away. Fidel Castro Jr., tablet scientist of Cuba, right? The same thing. So, what about it's OC differently, right? The dominance or who exercises control, right? The head shrink psychiatrist, or who prominent in position. I see Dr. Lockhart, he suggests about a year and a half ago, the herbs is a coping mechanism. You want to be on a show with Sterling, now Mr. Daniel Warren Jr., right? And you see the herbs is a coping mechanism.
Okay.
Right? If you can have it in your show, you clarify that. And obviously, herbs beneficial for terminal ill. And Mr. O.C.
When properly administered.
Yeah, I understand. Administrated. But O.C., like, usually when I call a talk show, I call on my behalf. So I can't chastise me now. I'm a serious person. Cheers, chop. Right now, respect you. Have a good day.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Rambo, for that. You have a great day as well, and please stay safe. We're going to take a commercial break. Folks, please stay tuned. For the Record, we'll be back shortly.
Time to lace up your sneakers and hit the road for the first ever Botanic Park Queen's Birthday 5K. Come out to the park on June 13th and help raise money for the Children's Garden Development. Your $25 fee includes a t-shirt, breakfast, and a chance to win in our prize draw. But there's more. You can win a prize and take home the bragging rights for the best Royal Fascinator design. Register now for the Botanic Park Queen's Birthday 5K at racecaribbean.net. This ad is sponsored by Coca-Cola.
Hi, I am remodeling a bathroom, I have a few questions.
Sure.
What are some ideas to make my bathroom feel larger? How do I know if I'm picking the right vanity? How do I choose a new toilet or a new countertop? Also, the lighting is terrible. Can I put a window or a skylight? And do I really need an exhaust fan?
You've come to the right place. At Brand Source, we custom design kitchen and baths, and our talented design team can help answer your questions. Whether you're looking for a modern, functional family bathroom or a luxurious personal retreat, we'll help create that beautiful space that makes your home yours. And if you're in a rush for a new look and have a limited budget, our ready-to-install bathroom vanities, built with solid wood and countertops of the finest materials, are a quick and easy remodeling solution.
For the very best in custom-designed kitchens and baths, visit Brand Source Home Gallery on Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park, Cayman's Kitchen and Bath Center.
Health City is now open at Camana Bay, offering a wide range of specialties at our state-of-the-art Camana Bay Clinic. We are here to help you save time and feel better. We are open weekdays, weekends, and evenings for your convenience and are dedicated to reducing your wait time while improving your health. Friendly staff, expert care, lab services, and diagnostics in one convenient location from the hospital you know and trust. Health City at Camana Bay, within your reach.
I've been looking forward to this barbecue all week.
Don't forget to put out my potato salad now.
How could we ever forget that?
We got everything ready?
Just need the chicken and the ribs. Honey, you have those ready?
Here you go.
Why are they still frozen?
'Cause they were in the freezer.
With no deductible on your home for non-catastrophic events, we're like a barbecue where you didn't forget to defrost the meat.
Are we vegetarians now?
Just eat the rice.
CG Britke. Insurance, health, pensions, life. Good like that.
For the record, with Ort Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matter. For the record, with Ort Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. Any callers on hold, Miss Susan? None? Right over to you, Doc.
Well, if we don't have any callers, one thing I would like to make clear is the regulations and that appears in Section 20. It says the Cabinet may make regulations prescribing all manners that are required or permitted by this Act to be prescribed or are necessary or convenient to be prescribed for giving effect to the purpose of this Act. And in particular, A, declaring a place to be a place of safety. So what they're doing in East End falls under Section 20. The Cabinet has made regulation declaring that those houses in East End that are being constructed now by the government are going to be places of safety, and B, by prescribing the forms to be used for anything done under this Act, so that they will provide the forms to be used, and they will also prescribe the procedure to be used for anything done under this Act. I don't see any forms yet.
Okay.
But they will probably provide the form. But what they're doing is providing a place of safety for people who are mentally ill under this Act.
Okay. Well, to follow up on that, in 2017, around by July of 2017, that's what almost 4 years, when Cayman News Service produced an article about the Canadian firm signing the deal for mental health facility, and they spoke about a government release that was issued, and it said that according to the release, the deal was signed by the Ministry of Health as chief officer at that point in time, and the Canadian representative, the Canadian specialist firm. Says the project was approved by Cabinet the last year, that was in 2016, after consultants KPMG published an outline business case recommending that government build and manage a facility which they estimated would cost around $16 million to construct. Government has already identified 15 acres at that point in time in Crown Land in East End, near to the old prison farm and weather station in the High Rock area. Dr. Mark Lockhart, government senior psychiatrist and chair of the Mental Health Commission, is quoted as saying that it was wonderful news to see the contract signed. Goes on to say, we have been working for many years to establish this much needed facility to care for our mental health patients who are among the most vulnerable in our community. And it says that Dr. Lockhart has been a long-time advocate of building the residential facility, and he added that it is absolutely essential that we care for our mental health patients in the appropriate manner. The article goes on to say it is no secret that Cayman is struggling to properly care for the many people with a range of mental health challenges. There is no long-term residential care facility here, and some patients are sent overseas for treatment in Jamaica or the United States, while others, unable to get visas to travel because of criminal convictions, are treated in the 8-bed mental health unit at the Cayman Islands Hospital in Georgetown. However, vast majority of people with mental health problems are in jail or cared for by family members, often under difficult circumstances. Goes on to say that every week the courts are presented with defendants with serious mental health challenges who are self-medicating with drugs and alcohol. Many have been sucked into a life of crime because of their conditions, because their conditions have not been diagnosed or where they haven't been properly treated. For many years, successive governments have recognized the need for a custom-designed facility, but the cost of constructing and managing it has deterred previous administrations. The project, which is on track, will incorporate a central building and a series of 9 small cottages, each of which can accommodate 6 patients. A main building and 7 of the cottages will likely be developed in the initial phase of construction, and the rest will be built in the future as demand dictates. So that was a 2017 article that was written in that regard as well. So, Doc, in your opinion, in looking at that Mental Health Act, what is your views as to its efficacy and its ability to address the issues, mental health issues that we're facing here in the Cayman Islands? And of course, we're seeing more and more. COVID-19 has increased additional mental health pressures. We don't know what distance learning has done, with our young people as well. So there are likely to be more challenges to come.
Yeah, there are going to be more challenges. And you remember the numbers before COVID that Dr. Lockhart said were suffering from some mental impairment, some mental, not impairment, had some mental challenges, yes. He said. So over 10,000 people had some mental challenges then. That was the estimated amount, the number of people. But what this act does, I have looked at mental acts in other jurisdictions, and this is one of the most comprehensive one, because it takes into account not only the Bill of Rights, but it takes into account the universal human rights position that we're under. It takes into account the Human Rights Commission and the Human Rights recommendations. At every stage of the provisions in here, they talk about balancing the rights of the patient with the rights of the state to detain people for treatment on the mental illness. And the detention is not just to detain a person to keep them off the streets. If you looked at we looked at the legislation, and it's carefully worded that it's the detention and the observation is for treatment. It's not to get rid of people off the streets, because they may be a nuisance to some people. And the problem is that you have to be so careful to balance everything right. And at every stage of the game, at every stage of the procedure, the patient rights is first and foremost and fundamentally protected.
Okay, so then what do we say? What would you say to those persons who opine that, we see people walking on the street, some of them walking with, all of their belongings, some of them walking, talking to themselves. Some will say, some will ask, what is the government doing about it? Some will ask, do they have family members who are looking, out for them? What do we say to those persons in terms of the legislation and the incremental steps that have to be taken, and in some instances may have to be on the individual's own initiative?
If it's not on the individual own initiative, if it's not on the individual own initiative, if it's not on an initiative of some family member, if it's not an initiative of a guardian, then it has to come from the observation of
a
constable, or if the person visited in a hospital, the nurse, you remember that provision?
Yes.
And I'll read again. It's section 7. It says, where it appears to any constable that a person is by reason of mental impairment or serious mental illness an immediate danger, or is likely to become a danger to themselves or others, that constable may make take such person into protective custody, and with all reasonable dispatch, but in any case not longer than 12 hours, bring the person before a government medical officer registered under the health practitioner's law. So here is what happens if you see a person walking the streets, or is in the streets, or is in the public domain, and you think, or it appears to you that they may have some mental impairment or serious mental illness, you can refer that to a constable. The constable will then make his assessment, and if it appears to the constable that the person is by reason of mental impairment or serious mental illness an immediate danger, or is likely to become a danger to themselves or others, the constable may take that person into protective custody, and then it goes down to Section 6, emergency detention order and treatment, then will be administered. But it's up to what the constable believes. So if you see someone, and the position that we have now, where they say someone is on the streets and so forth, it's up to the constable opinion. If it appears to him, it's up to him. The constable is the one who make up his mind to say whether a person or persons appears to them that they are mentally impaired or have serious mental illness. It's what the constable reasonable foreseeable. What the constable reasonable perceive. It's the same thing. I guess it would be the same. It would be the same measure if a constable believes that you have been committing an offense. Then he can take you into custody, but he can't take you into a custody because somebody tells him that you should do so. It has to come from him. He has to form the opinion himself that he reasonably believes that you are mentally ill, or that you have some serious mental illness.
And for him or her to believe that, they would have to observe, I would imagine, certain actions of that individual.
That's right.
That person possibly displaying acts that could harm themselves or could harm other persons.
That's right. Yes, that's what the law. That's what the law requires. And I read it again: where it appears to any constable that any person is by reason of mental impairment or serious mental illness, an immediate danger, or is likely to become a danger to themselves or others, that constable may take such person into protective custody and with all reasonable dispatch, but in any case not longer than 12 hours, bring the person before a government medical doctor. So if the constable takes the person into custody and, for instance, take them to Fairbanks, or for instance, take them to a nearest police station, he can't do that, keep them at the police station for more than 12 hours. Within 12 hours after he's taken them into custody, he must take them to a medical doctor for the assessment.
Okay. Doc, we're going to take our last commercial break. When we return this time, we know that some people, depending on what issue is being addressed in the Cayman Islands or what issue is prominent in the Cayman Islands, some keep praises on the fact that we have a Bill of Rights.
Yes.
And others condemn it and said, I knew, by introducing a Bill of Rights in the Cayman Islands, we were going to end up with problems, having to address issues and things of that nature. I want you to comment on that when we return.
Yes.
Folks, please stay tuned for The Record with Dr. Steve McFeel. We'll continue after this commercial break.
Time to lace up your sneakers and hit the road for the first ever Botanic Park Queen's Birthday 5K. Come out to the park on June 13th and help raise money for the Children's Garden Development. Your $25 fee includes a t-shirt, breakfast, and a chance to win in our prize draw. But there's more. You can win a prize and take home the bragging rights for the best Royal Fascinator design. Register now for the Botanic Park Queen's Birthday 5K at racecaribbean.net. This ad is sponsored by Coca-Cola.
Did you know that defective airbags can cause serious injury or even death if not repaired immediately? Right now, millions of vehicles around the world are under recall for faulty Takata airbags, and yours could be one of them. At Vant Motors, our priority is to make sure the Toyota or Ford you drive is safe. So we are offering customers a free, fast, and easy airbag swap out if your vehicle was manufactured in 2016 or earlier. Find out if you need to have new airbags installed by emailing your Ford or Toyota vehicle's VIN or vehicle identification number to service@vantmotors.com or stop by Vamp's Service Center or call us at 949-2245. Don't risk it. Get the airbags in your Toyota or Ford checked for free at Vamp Motors on Walkers Road.
I've got some beautiful clothes. I know just where they go. Puritan Cleaners.
Puritan Cleaners would like to remind customers the closing time for all stores is 5:30 p.m. Savannah Countryside, 10 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. Elgin Avenue, 8 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. Puritan Cleaners, 337 Eastern Avenue. Drive-through, rain or shine. 7:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. Now 10% off prepaid on $20 orders and up. Household and wedding dresses remain at standard offer. 10% off on prepaid orders. Drop off and transfer for pickup from any of the 3 Puritan stores for your convenience. Call 949-7104. Puritan Cleaners. You feel good when you look good. Healthcare Pharmacy, caring about your health for the past 25 years. Radio Cayman's premier health show.
Alzheimer's and dementia, are they the same disorder?
Yeah, I think that's a very important question.
For the Health of It with Tara Bush.
For the Health of It with Tara Bush.
Is heard on Saturdays at 9:30 a.m. and on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Brought to you by Healthcare Pharmacy in Grand Harbor, where they care about your health. Transfer and refill your prescription online. Visit healthcarepharmacy.com or call 947-8900. Healthcare Pharmacy, now with a new and second location in Governor's Square. The new Healthcare Pharmacy in Governor's Square is open Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. and Saturday, 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. Healthcare Pharmacy, where they care about your health.
Cybercrime happens online or through the technology we use every day. Anyone can be a victim of cybercrime, whether you are a young person being bullied or harassed online, or an older person or business who's been scammed out of money or personal data. Cybercrime is an issue that touches all of us. The Cayman Islands government has therefore created an online resource to help keep you cyber safe in an ever-changing world.
In online situations, it is better to be cyber safe than sorry. Learn now to protect yourself against cybercrime. Visit gov.ky/cybersafe.
For the Record with Ort Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matter. For the Record with Ort Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. We're on the last leg of the show this morning with Dr. Macfield. Doc, before you answer that question, those questions that I posed to you before, this person has written in and said, would Dr. Macfield say whether under the children's law and human rights in general, is it fair treatment and legal for a child 11 to 12 years old to be placed at the order of a social worker, that the child be placed in Phoenix House for up to 20 days, be placed without a visit of any relative or parent, or not even permitted to receive or make a phone call, not able to see the physical state of the child or ask in person how they're doing. However, not for 1 hour during 20 days, the child has not been allowed 1 hour or no time at all of exercise or sunlight. This has affected the child with trauma.
I really can't comment on that because I don't know the background, the background and the reasons why the child was detained, and the reason why what the order was to send him to, was it Eagle House?
It says Phoenix
House. I wouldn't be able to do that, but I would have to know the background of the reasons why the child was sent to Phoenix House and on the conditions in which he was sent there. Then I would be able to assist the caller with my opinion, but I couldn't give an opinion because I don't know.
Who actually has care and control of the child at this point?
And in what conditions the child was placed there under. Yes. Whether he was forbidden to have any relatives or any friends visit for a certain amount of period of time. That might be a condition too.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, yes. Yeah, so Doc, or Bill of Rights, and I'm not going to speculate, but I would imagine that before the end of the year and probably before the summer is over, that the Judicial Committee of the Privy Council is going to render a decision in relation to Bermuda and the Cayman Islands in relation to same-sex marriages. That when that decision is arrived at, whatever that decision is, it is going to raise the level of debate in the Cayman Islands again about human rights in this country. And there will be arguments for us having a Bill of Rights, and others who argue that we shouldn't have it. But what we also have to be careful when we talk about that is that no one knows when we may find ourselves in that situation, whether it may be mental health or otherwise. Some may argue that I'm mentally challenged as it is. Some people may be saying that now, OC needs mental health care at the end of the day.
Yes.
So we never know when we are placed in that position, and that legislation is there then to protect us as well when we're on the other side of the fence.
Well, I would just say to your answer to you, I says, kudos to those people who negotiated the Constitution in 2009 that we have a Bill of Rights. Some people do not have any rights at all. Some people does not have any Bill of Rights. Some people have the Bill of Rights and they're still being persecuted and prosecuted illegally by their governments. Thank goodness we have a Bill of Rights in Cayman that protects us against arbitrary government and that protects our rights in the world.
And we delayed that for quite a while too, because
we did that in the world.
And this time around, I don't think we were going to get any other constitutional changes unless we had that Bill of Rights in there. And remember now, the portion, the Bill of Rights itself, there was a delay in that coming into effect because we had to make preparations for it. Also,
that's right, and the Bill of Rights. The Bill of Rights is one of the most important things in our Constitution. It's even more important than some other provisions in our Constitution. And that brings me to what some of our fans, your fans and my fans, have been asking me about the district councils. The Bill of Rights, I would say district councils is as important as Bill of Rights, because the district councils is something that would give the ordinary member member in the constituents the right to interact with his government on an advisory position, and that has not been done. But thank goodness we have the Bill of Rights that protect constituents and protect members of the citizenship of the Cayman Islands from arbitrary governance and from arbitrary government and protection. Because can you imagine, for instance, if you didn't have the right from arbitrary arrests, what could happen to you if someone didn't like you, and so forth? If you didn't have the right to free speech and movement and all those rights, and one of the rights that we seem not to take seriously is the rights under Section 16 of our Constitution. The right to protect our economy, the right to protect our Caymanian population, and the right to regulate the movement of people in and out of our borders. We seem not to take those very seriously, because there's a lot of controversy now, not controversy, but a lot of debate about what rights we have with permanent residence, citizenship, and permits and everything. And Section 16 is very clear. Section 16 says that the Constitution gives us the right to regulate those things within our own interests. And it does not contravene any of the Bill of Rights or the rights of any other people's Bill of Rights or the rights that we are subject to under the International Convention of Human Rights. That we have the right to say who comes into our country, what they can do, what business that they can engage into, and how long they can stay. Those things are for us to decide.
And we see in Bermuda where they have certain categories of employment that they will not issue work permits for, because there are positions that are reserved for Bermudans only. We would hope and we would trust that something similar to that will be implemented in the Cayman Islands, at least to get the employment of Caymanians under control, and that certain categories will be, for instance, right now, we saw the other day where they talk about the fact that employment in tourism pays a lot of money. What pays a lot of money to? Being a real estate agent.
That's right.
And it is an industry now that is dominated by non-Caymanians, and they are making lots of money. Closing comments from you, Doc.
Thank you for asking me to come. I'm always ready to help to assist you in your show. I think your show is one of the best ones. It is the best show now in Cayman. Informative show, and I think you should have these more often. I think you should have these shows more often. They're very informative, and I'm so happy to be able to have the initiative and the knowledge to be able to assist you in informing the Caymanian people of all the things that they need to know, and to make a better society for all of us.
Okay, thank you very much.
And to move us on into the 21st century with more confidence than we had before.
Okay, thank you very much. And we're going to continue to keep our legislators on their toes as well. One of the things that we're going to be looking at, the recommendations made by the most recent election observers in the Cayman Islands, as well as the recommendations that were made in 2013 and 2017 to look and see what is common amongst those recommendations, what recommendations have been acted upon and those that have not been acted upon and that are really, really necessary as well. So, folks, first of all, I want to thank Dr. Steve McPhail. And, folks, I want to thank you for allowing Radio Cayman and, by extension, For the Record into your homes, into your vehicles, as you traverse the busy roads of the Cayman Islands into your places of work, wherever that may be. I also want to remind you that we are our brothers and our sisters' keepers. There is always someone out there who's less fortunate than we are, and I ask you to extend a helping hand to them. If you can't do that, then I suggest you donate to a worthy charity, because we always want to consider those who need, not necessarily those who want or even those who crave. So I say to you, have a great day. Continue to support your radio station, Radio Cayman. Join Sterling Dweeny Banks at 12:15 for Talk Today. And as usual, we ask the good Lord to bless these three beautiful, wonderful Cayman Islands.
For the Record is brought to you by Vamped Motors, the only authorized Ford and Toyota dealership serving the Cayman Islands. Coca-Cola, available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga Distributors. Accept no substitutes. Taste the feeling with Coca-Cola. Brand Source Home Gallery, inspiring luxury. Caribbean Bakery, made Cayman fresh. Health City, now open at Camana Bay 7 days a week.
The Ministry of Commerce, Planning and Infrastructure, and by West Bay Pharmacy, taking care of your health.
Today's biggest news.